Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Garden of Sports. I'm your host, Jake Gardner, alongside my brother, Zach Gardner.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, God. And, oh, you a heavy smoker now?
Yeah.
And, this is basketball episode 6 for week 6 recap and week 7 prep. So we'll be breaking down top performers, surprises of the week, trades, either sell high or buy low, and also top scoops, scoop them up, guys to grab. You know what it is, so we'll just jump in. Point guards for top performers, DeJounte Murray, 56.3 average. So when I say top performers for the week, I go over the last 7 days, their average points. So DeJounte Murray, 56.3 average, going off, proving everybody wrong, I think, about how good he can be. Russell Westbrook, 53 average. Luka Doncic, 51.1 average.
And then we got shooting guards.
Oh, Jesus.
No, but we got shooting guards. We got James Harden, 48.2 average. Terry Rozier, 45.1 average. And Ant-Man Anthony Edwards, 42.1 average.
Yeah, small forward, Kevin Durant, 55.3 average, going for that MVP. LeBron James, 42.9 average. Paul George, 39.9 average.
And then moving on over to power forward, it's 55.1 average. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 51.7 average. And Christian Wood is back, baby, 41.3 average.
Yeah, man, he was really struggling over the past 3 weeks to a month. So he had a big bounce back game last night. And I think that's just going to give him the confidence. And the team needed the confidence. So
you think we could see him maybe in a Bulls uniform at some point? Exclamation point.
I mean, okay, so it would be smart. It would be smart for the organization to trade their best player to get some more picks because they're not winning anything. And this guy's older than the rest of the team. He's like in his prime, like 27. I don't quote me on that. I have to look up his age, but he's older than the rest of the guys because he's been in the league longer.
Yeah.
So it'd be smart for them to trade him, and I'd love to see him, but I don't know if they will.
Right.
Centers, Clint Capella, 47.8 average. Jared Allen, 40.3 average. Rudy Gobert, 40 average. So pretty standard there.
Hey, good to see Jared Allen getting back to 40. I know because, he was injured for like a whole week, and we were starting to talk about, maybe sell high for him, but do you think that
I think he was more of a buy low last week. He was a buy low.
Gotcha. Good to see him like rounding back to averaging 40.
Yeah, the team is just starting to heat up again. So they're not like a team that's going to win anything. They might not make the playoffs, but they have a lot of talent and they can score a lot.
Do.
So that helps any player on the team, any starter. And now Evan Mobley's back, the rookie. He's back super quick. So,
Damn.
And Darius Garland's really heating up also. But surprises of the week, I didn't put Joel Embiid on the top of center list because he just came back last night. But he first came back 68.3 fantasy points. So,
jeez.
And it's good to see him back because he said he thought COVID was going to kill him. So,
wow.
Yeah, said it was pretty rough time for him. That's why he was gone so long. Because I think it's been almost 3 weeks that he's been out. So nice to see him back into form, and obviously he'll keep that going. I mean, this was I think this was an overtime game, so he got extra stats there, but can't
That's
remember.
That's so crazy though. 68 fantasy points. I mean, my gosh,
it's
have
insane.
a game.
Yeah. Yeah, Scary Terry. So yeah, he made the list on shooting guards, and he's finally coming back to form. His average is back up to 30, which is around where he was last year. So with this breakout this week, he's back to his normal average. But this past week, 45.1 average is insane.
Yeah,
so it's great to see. And that team's another team like Cleveland, but they're better than Cleveland. That's going off. And when the team's eating, everybody on the team's eating. Like they're all getting crazy stats.
So they just play great together as like a unit.
Yeah, they play very fast-paced offensive basketball. They're not like a defensive prowess, but
Are they like similar to the Bulls, but just obviously better,
No,
but like similar in that way where the Bulls play well together?
no, the Bulls are better.
Oh, okay.
This team doesn't play any defense. The Bulls
Oh,
play
gotcha.
like lockdown defense.
Gotcha.
Even though last night was our biggest test yet, and I think we failed because Miami Heat, like we talked about,
They're kind of one of
I
the
like
ones you
to.
look at in our way, right?
Well, yeah, they're the number 2 seed. That's the team I would mimic. That we're trying to mimic, I'd say,
Right.
with our because they're the number 1 defense in the league. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe not statistically quite yet. I know Golden State's up there, but they should finish with the number 1 defense. And yeah, we had 22 turnovers last night, which is the most we've ever had all season. So they really tested us.
Yeah.
And then the last surprise of the week, Kevin Porter Jr., 40 points. No, there's 2 more. 40.7 average. So yeah, it's funny. The rookie's out, Jalen Greene, and then Kevin Porter's doing well, and the team's doing better. So it's almost like the rookie was just being a ball hog and not playing good basketball.
Hmm.
Jalen Greene. So now that he's out, Kevin Porter looks like the Kevin Porter from the end of last year, where he was just going off when he was
Okay.
traded to the Rockets last year from Cleveland, and then he just started going crazy. And you're like, why did Cleveland just like give up on this guy and not even play him?
Right.
So something happened internally there, but
Yeah.
yeah, Kevin Porter's doing good, and maybe Jalen Greene will be less ball dominant when he returns because the coach would be like, listen, we're playing better, sharing the ball better with Kevin Porter running it, not you. So we'll see. Plus, that coach is fighting for his job, so he's going to do whatever it takes. He's not going to like focus the rookie just to focus the rookie. He needs
Mm-hmm.
wins to keep his job. Darius Garland, 41.6 average. So I was talking about him in Cleveland going off. He's finally taken over as the lead. So we said earlier, Ricky Rubio he goes in these hot streaks once a year, I think. And this year it was just super early on for this new team.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not their future. Garland is. And I'm not saying drop Ricky Rubio. He's still like the number 2 guard with Colin Sexton out. But Garland's the man. So it's good to see. Surprises of the week there. Injury
Garland's
news.
the
So,
man.
yeah. Unless you have any surprises of the week, Zach.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about him later, but one of my
Okay.
surprises was Jared Vanderbilt, but we'll talk about him
Oh,
later.
yeah. Yeah. Top scoop. Injury
Yeah.
news. John Morant, knee. Yeah, it would look like he tore his ACL or MCL, but apparently he
He's got a
hasn't.
knee.
It's a severe sprain. So he
Okay.
will return. The coach said he will return the season, but there's no timetable.
Yeah, I heard that since they kind of avoided like the terrible news of like MCL, ACL, I heard that you can expect it to be maybe 2, 3 weeks. So I'm hoping that that's how it'll be, but you never know with those strains. Sometimes those
Yeah,
can linger a lot.
I mean, they had to carry him off.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like it could be a severe sprain where it's like a month plus.
I don't know.
I mean,
He just needed to throw some ice on it.
yeah, right. So, updated news on Michael Porter Jr. This might be old for anybody listening, but it came out right after our last episode. Michael Porter Jr. back. He has a nerve issue that could cause him to miss significant time. So,
Yeah,
it's not like a surprise, but
those nerve things, though, that's not good at all. That
yeah.
can he can miss months with that.
Yep. They said they were going to give him 1 week to be and then reevaluate to decide on surgery or not. I think they're trying to avoid it right now.
Yeah,
We
if
could
he has
find out.
back surgery, you can just write off this season.
Oh, no, yeah. Surgery is end of season. That's why they're trying to avoid it.
Yeah.
But updates could be coming. We'll probably post about it. Keep a close eye. And Jalen Greene, who we talked about hamstring, will be reevaluated in 1 week. So,
Okay.
yeah, the team's playing better without him. But still, this guy's a hyper athletic talent. So we'll talk about him more later. Derrick Rose, ankle, 3 games missed. So, yeah, he's on a kind of a beginning of the year hot streak, but his injuries always happen with his ankle or knee. So something to keep an eye on.
Okay.
Brook Lopez, he's been out a while, but new update came out for his back. He has resumed on-court work and said that he has a target date in mind.
Hmm.
So we don't know the target date, but the guy's
Okay.
practicing now. So, and he's a 26 average. It's like a good bench player for a fantasy team. So
Yeah,
if he was
he's
dropped, you could grab him.
I heard from a little birdie that he's targeting March 15th as his target date.
Yeah, right. John Wall, this isn't an injury, but he is out, so he could be on your IR.
Hmm.
Hopes to return to the organization and start playing. So that's a big update because beginning of the year he said, and the team said he will not play this year, like he's going to sit out, basically for a trade.
Hmm.
But now it looks like
Yeah, I
he's just
remember that.
really, really bored, and he wants to play the game of basketball.
He sucks at Fortnite, I guess.
Yeah, and so also the Heat are really interested in him, but they need him to be bought out, which then he would lose $91 million if he was bought out.
Wow. Yeah, that ain't happening.
So it's really up to John Wall on how much he wants to play basketball for a team, like a
I wouldn't
contender.
want to I wouldn't want to play basketball to lose $91 million. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's also like a pride. I think it's a pride thing, and you're in your prime still at 31 years old.
A
And
pride
it's
thing, $91 million, dude.
I know it's unlikely to happen,
Who
but he
gives
could
up
still.
that that life-altering money there? I mean, my
Well, he
gosh.
already has enough life-altering money. He can invest and just make 91 million, but
Well,
and he could still play. But
I
he's hoping that
suppose.
he's traded with this contract, and he doesn't have to be bought out. I think.
Yeah, that would be
So they're going to
great.
start playing him, and when they start playing him, I guarantee they're going to throw him into the starting lineup, and they want him to be just ball dominant, proving that he's worth a trade, like for a contender. So
Mm.
that'll be happening. Nicholas Batum, COVID is still out. Just an update there. Marco Fultz, knee. So after his ACL tear, beginning of last year, he's doing more contact and on-court work. So someone to keep an eye on. If you have, all your IR spots empty, it's somebody you could grab and stash, but I wouldn't focus it. I would just keep them on your watch list. Patrick Beverley, groin, was having a pretty dang good year as like a bottom tier bench player, 26 average. He will be reevaluated in a couple weeks. So obviously it's a semi-severe groin strain. Any other players? No, not for you, Zach. For injury news, I guess you wouldn't have any more. But if you
Uh,
could think of
I
any
did
I
have
missed.
I had one thing related to Markel Fultz.
Okay.
With him doing contact work and on court work and everything, looking like he's going to be back, sooner rather than later. Is
Yeah.
this the time to move off of Cole Anthony?
Oh, well, yeah, he's still so high, but he's injured now. And Suggs is starting. It wasn't, I don't
Like
think it was supposed to be severe, so I don't know what, or did he come back?
he
I was
hasn't
actually
come
just
back.
wondering.
He's still out. I'm just wondering, with Fultz about to come back, is
Oh,
Cole
yeah,
Anthony
he's
just worth
been
a
out.
drop right now?
Oh, dude, I would still try to trade him with a combo or something because his average is 37.7. Like,
Yeah,
you can't drop that.
right.
So I would
Okay,
still try in a combo deal. It's gonna be much harder now
but
though than
his
the past couple
his
weeks we've been talking about.
but his average was 37.7 when he was, from what he did before. I don't know. You gotta, is he gonna keep
Yeah,
doing that? But
he could
whatever.
still be around 30 though, and you don't want to
Okay.
drop a 30.
Yeah, you're right.
So still try to sell high with a combo though, because now you can't just sell him by himself as when he's hurt.
Right.
But or you wait till the first couple of games he's back and then try to do it because yeah, Fultz is eventually coming back and then they're guard heavy. So
Right.
all right, let's break into trade targets. I have a lot of good buy lows I think here and sell highs. So Derek White, 28.3 average on the year, but he's capable of 35, and it looks like the team just in general is starting to heat up. They had a real bad stretch here over the past couple weeks where they just look terrible, terrible. But DeJounte Murray's heating up, which is making the whole team look good, and so everyone's stats are increasing. And so, yeah, I think these are must. He's like a guy you should definitely try to trade for because we've seen him before just go off in his last 7, and he has 36.6 average. So, and that's what he's capable of sustaining. Wouldn't put him higher than that, but 35 average he can definitely hit. He's hit it before.
Okay.
John Morant, I put him on here because if someone doesn't want to hold him through an injury like that, try to trade for him, try to trade. I don't know, try to trade. He's obviously, he was a top 20 player before the injury. Try to trade like a 30 ranked player overall or 40, trade up,
Mm-hmm.
Trade up for the future if you can. If you have, it's kind of all scenarios, but you would have to have IR spots, and you'd have to feel comfortable with your team that you could hold this guy for however long. I mean, it could be a month. So
yeah,
but yeah, just the beginning of an injury is where someone's less likely to want to hold them the whole time. 2 weeks from now, they're just gonna hold him. Like,
right.
why would they trade him when he's closer to returning? So I'd say just like talk to the whoever owns them and see if you can get a trade done. Julius Randle is still not playing well, or still not playing up to par at all. So his average is still right around 40. I think it just dipped under 40. But he's just not scoring his 20 plus points. It's like I think that's the main thing for him right now is his shot is not falling.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it will. I mean, this is the leader of the team. This is their all-star. So I don't know if he's just in his own head. I mean, yeah, he only had 8 points last night. It's just, and his points dipped under 22. He's down to 19.2 average, but it's going to raise back up. So he did have a couple good games, and then he had 2 bad games in a row. So I don't know. I hope this isn't a thing for him for this season where he's up and down, but so far he's been up and down.
Yeah, wow.
And last year he was like hyper consistent. And that's what made him an all-star and I believe he finished as a top 10 fantasy player. So that's the hope. Basically, if you're trading for him, you want him to finish top 10 again, at the very minimum, top 20. So, and he's not even close to that right now. So you need to try to trade for him if you can. I mean, it would take a decent haul, but you're trading for that upside, and eventually his shot will fall. Like, this is not him. This is not his best play. So Bam Adebayo is also underperforming. 30.1 average in the last 7. He's capable of plus 40. We've seen him do it, over a whole season before, or 2. I think the last 2 seasons. So,
right.
Yeah, I would try to trade for him. Just, I mean, that's not a better player than Randle, but yeah, his season average is 36.7.
In his last 5 games, you don't really like those rebound numbers for a big center,
Yeah, that's returning from injury though, so I think maybe he's still like a little sore.
Okay.
Because he only took 2 games off for his injury, and I think it was his knee. So he's just going to play better than this. This isn't his best play, and he's also 0 blocks in the last 5 games. He's usually a block machine. His all-star years, over 1 block a game, and right now he's at 0.4. So,
okay,
this is your chance to go get an all-around player that's great, and I wouldn't hesitate to try to trade for him.
Okay.
So, those are more like, obviously, top-tier guys. They're going to be harder to get. I have a couple more of those, though, that are underperforming. Brandon Ingram and Jaylen Brown. So, Brandon Ingram, I don't know what's up with him, but he's usually a 40 average. And right now he's at 33.7. And very mediocre games over the past. I mean, he's had a couple okay games, but okay games for him. I'm not saying they're bad games, but like, he should be better than this, basically, is what I'm saying. He's averaged 40 before. He's at 33.7. I mean, I don't know what else to say there. That's a buy low, if anything. So
yeah, that's a huge buy low, it looks like.
I think this is your last chance to get him. I've talked about him as a buy low for 2 or 3 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you need a small forward / power forward, this is the great guy to go after. And Jaylen Brown, since returning from injury, hasn't been himself. He hasn't been the Jaylen Brown who was going off to start the year.
He is
So
listed as day-to-day now, too.
yeah, they've been listening to that like every game since returning. So injury management, yeah. So yeah, he's another guy coming off of injury like Bam, who obviously is still a bit sore and has to get his feet back under him because he missed more games than Bam did. He missed like a whole 8 games. So yeah, he's a buy low just for that reason. I mean, would be the hardest one to trade for. Maybe next to Randle because of how good he started to the year. But yeah, Shingut's small forward. I'd try to trade for him if you need one. See if the guy's willing. I mean, yeah, the 3 games back haven't been that good, so. But he'll return to form. No doubt in my mind. Other buy lows, Jalen Suggs for Orlando. Now he's starting since Cole Anthony's out. 24.5 average in the last 7. And we know he can do a lot better than that. He was obviously way over projected in the fantasy draft, but this is still a guy who could finish top 100. I wouldn't say top 60, but it's a guy who should. We've been talking about this. Cole Anthony's a sell high because eventually they're going to let Jalen Suggs just take the reins. This is not a good team at all. They're like one of the worst teams in the league. So try to trade for him. See what you can. I'm trying to think of a good guy you could sell high on for this buy low. I mean, if you're daring, you could even do Cole Anthony for Jalen Suggs, but that's a lot, obviously. Yeah. It'd be harder to do because of Cole Anthony's current average. But maybe Kevin Porter Jr., maybe Buddy Hield. I'd definitely trade Buddy Hield, who's pretty hot right now. He's in a hot streak. Trade him for Jalen Suggs, who is the future of that team. Another cheap buy low is RJ Barrett. So the Knicks as a whole, not just Julius Randle, are struggling. And he's at a 24.6 average in the last 7. Last year, he was like a 32 to 35 fantasy point average in a points league. So when the Knicks start to heat up, they have the talent. The talent's all there. When they start to heat up, so will he and so will the rest of the team. So I have no doubt he could be better than that. This is his floor. Like his worst play is around 25 here. But he should be better. Robert Williams, I put him on here. I'm sure a lot of people are high on him as a good young player, but he's out with an illness and he's a 30 average. People could be frustrated. He also missed a couple games with his knee. I would try to trade for him because I think it could be better than the 30 average. I think it could be around 35. Because we talked about Al Horford and how good he's doing to start the year. Robert Williams should shoulder more of that as the year goes on, being the younger legs. With the higher talent, I think he'll be able to last the season longer. Karis LeVert, he isn't doing so hot this year. He's doing pretty bad, actually. But I think he's definitely one of the biggest buy lows because of the talent he has. He went off at the end of last year. He helped me win my championship. He went plus 35. I think he was up to like 37 or 38 by the end of the year. And right now he's at 24.8. So, I mean, this is a guy who's even under his floor, or what I thought his floor was. But he should be above 30, no doubt, in my mind. He should be way better than this. The talent is there, so.
I feel like that's a good buy low.
It's a huge buy low.
Yeah.
And it's he's easier than some of those top guys I was talking about to buy low on.
Okay.
So see who has him in your league and try to trade for him. He should definitely be above 30, up to 32. Sell highs. Terry Rozier is hot right now. We talked about him in the shooting guard section of just going off. 45.1 average in the last 7. However, 45 is not sustainable for him. His average, which he just reached from last year, is around 30. And now he's above 30. And that's kind of just where he is. He's not the main guard on the team. He's arguably the 3rd best player, but he could even be their 4th. So I would sell him while he's hot, see if anybody is a taker, otherwise just ride him while he's going on this hot streak. Kevin Porter Jr., another guy we talked about earlier as a surprise of the week. Looks like the end of last year right now because Jalen Greene's out and he's taking over the ball handling duties. And just looks elite again. So, but when Jalen Greene's back, that a take away from him again because he looked very mediocre at playing next to Jalen Greene. So see if you can get a buyer, see if someone still knows about or remembers that end of last year he was just a beast, and maybe they want him. So D'Angelo Russell, sell pre-injury. He's 38.9 average in the last 7. And you hate to say sell pre-injury, but this guy has a huge history of it, of the injuries, and right now he's shooting hot, which is something he goes in these hot streaks of shooting and can always come down from those as well, even if he's healthy. And the whole team is playing well. Don't get me wrong, I love the Timberwolves, but the main guard is going to be Anthony Edwards the rest of the way. So it's nice to see Russell shooting well and shooting his threes, but he'll roll an ankle sooner than later. And I would try to seeing that he is the third best player on a team, I would try to get second best player on a different team. That kind of sell. So see if you could get, I wouldn't necessarily say Karis LeVert because that's a pretty big trade to bet on Karis LeVert, but 38.9 average in the last 7. See if you can get Brandon Ingram. That'd be an amazing trade. Or Jaylen Brown.
Or Julius Randle.
Yeah, that'd be harder to get, but because that is a second round guy. Should be a top 20 guy, but the other, I don't know. For Randle, it'd have to be a combo, but yeah. Draymond Green, 37.9 average in the last 7. And yeah, his average of the past, 3 to 4 years has been around 30. So this isn't sustainable. And he's also a guy who gets injured. So, but right now he looks like prime Draymond Green, getting those defensive stats as well. So that's keeping him up. I'll try to sell high though, because they also have, injured players coming back in the future. So he'll get less touches. With Klay Thompson and James Wiseman eventually coming back, he'll definitely get less touches. So Reggie Jackson is also heating up for the Clippers. And I love Reggie Jackson, but I would sell him while he's hot, see if he can get anything. Buddy Hield, the same thing. Super hot right now from his shooting at least. That's all he does. 34.8 average in the last 7. See what you can get. I hate that you even have him on your team if you do. But if you get stuck with him for some reason, he was the only guy you could draft, this is your chance to get rid of him. And this is a new sell high. He was a sleeper for me for the draft, and he's proven why he was a sleeper. 33.2 average on the year. So he was a great steal in the draft. But I think you could sell him. Tyler Hero, I think you could sell him high because I'm a little worried about when Victor Oladipo comes back. And they're being very hush-hush with Victor Oladipo. I think Victor Oladipo's camp feels like he could come back sooner rather than later, and the Heat feel like he could come back at the end of the year. And then the Heat are also interested in John Wall, so there's a lot of factors here, but Oladipo's the bigger one. If he comes back, he'll also be the bench scorer with Tyler Hero, and he'll take away from Tyler Hero. And Tyler Hero could then dip under 30. Which you would hate to see. So it's a potential sell high if you're also worried about rotation minutes and whatnot on this guy, but I'm going to see what I can get. I have him in the league, so. Tyrese Maxey, 32.9 average in the year. I was saying sell him high last week as well, but now, for real, Joel Embiid is back. The whole team's back. So, his 32.9 in the year, and he could dip down to 30 or below because of all these guys being back. I would try to trade him. See what you can get based on the buy lows we have. If you could trade Maxey for Karis LeVert, that would be amazing. That's a must do for me. But yeah, any other sell highs, Zach? All right, that's a no. He's in and out with the internet, but that's all right. Scoop him up. So I have a couple of must grabs here based on injuries and things that have happened in the past week. A lot has happened. So must grab is DeAnthony Melton while Ja Morant is out. So DeAnthony Melton, even when Ja Morant was in the beginning of the year, he started really hot, kind of starting next to Ja Morant. And then, he kind of fell off a little bit, but he's still at a 23 average, even with Ja Morant in. So when he's out, DeAnthony Melton looks really good, and he can play great defense. Yeah, he's a must-grab player for the next 2 weeks that Ja's out, to even longer, to a month. It's like a guy who could keep winning you weeks. So must-grab to stream for however long Ja's out. Same with Desmond Bane on the same team. He'll get a lot more shots now, the rookie, as the starting shooting guard, I think, or just getting more minutes off the bench with Ja Morant out, but must-grab player because he also started hot in the year and then slowed down, but he'll be great. Jalen Greene is being dropped because of the bad performance and recent injury we talked about. So if someone drops him, I would just use don't use a waiver, but use a free grab and put him in your IR, because this is a guy who he still has great potential, hyper athletic. So see if he's available if people are giving up on him. The next must-grab player is Jared Vanderbilt. Zach had talked about him earlier because Zach grabbed him, but he's a must-start fantasy player because he's starting for the red-hot Minnesota Timberwolves as their power forward, and he's 32.2 average in the last 7. He's looked really, really good. I wouldn't hesitate to grab him because unless you're just some super stacked team, you need a guy like this with high upside. Not high upside, because he is like the 4th best player on the team right now. But just good upside, 30 average a night on the season upside. That's the kind of guy you want for the last slot in your league, or on your team, one of your bench spots. That's his upside is a 30 average on the year, I think. Another must grab, so someone I was super high on in the draft, but has not played up to par, is Daniel Gafford. But he seems to be coming to form as the starting center for the Washington Wizards. He's outperformed the bench center in the past couple of games, and he's getting more minutes. And he's also just a better defender, getting these blocks. He had 8 blocks against OKC. 8 blocks. So his blocks in the season averages 2.1 now, and he's getting his points and rebounds up. So watch out for him, and he's only 11.4% owned. He's already up to 23.6 average on the year, so hopefully he wasn't grabbed yet. It doesn't look like he's super owned yet in ESPN or super grabbed, only up plus 0.5. But that would be a great guy to grab, and he's available everywhere. So go grab Daniel Gafford. So Lauri Markkanen, 30 average in the last 7. He's only 45% owned. I was surprised to see that. I know he's an up and down player, but 45% owned. He should definitely be above 60, if not 70. So see if he's available in your league. That's another good guy to have on your bench. He's on that red hot Cleveland team so Markkanen's not even I guess you could say is the 4th best player, but you got Jarrett Allen, Garland, Mobley's back, the rookie. And then we talked about Ricky Rubio just going off as well as a guard, but Markkanen is the power forward, and yeah, there's no other power forward really competing with him. I mean, Evan Mobley's more of a small forward, but he could play power forward. But Markkanen's looking good, and the team's looking good as a whole, so someone to stream at the very least. PJ Washington, could he be coming back to form? So 1 good game so far since return from injury, so I'm not going to... And the center was sitting. So it's not a guaranteed thing. That's why I have him lower on the list. But last year he did average 30 fantasy points. So it's something to keep note of, because now he's down... This is a guy who was drafted in every league, PJ Washington. And now he's down to 50% owned. Definitely got to keep your eye on, at the very least, his watch list. And see if he could pick it up. Because I don't know when their center comes back, their starting center, if it's going to take away from him again. But we'll see. Bobby Portis, we had him on here last week as one of our top scoops, but he's still Super available in leagues, 50% owned. I don't know why he's not higher. I mean, he's doing amazing. 30 average, above 30, so go grab him as well. Jalen Brunson, he's day-to-day now, but he's still available in leagues. Only 40% owned, 29.5 average. Definitely grab him. Aaron Gordon, we talked about him filling in for Michael Porter Jr., and now that Michael Porter Jr. looks like he's out long-term, and Aaron Gordon's starting to get hot, 31.1 average in the last 7. He's only 41% owned, so I hesitate to say must grab because we've seen him go super cold before, like in both teams he's been on, Orlando and here in Denver, but something to look at. Dort, another guy from last week, still 30 average. He's still in his hot streak, so that's 2 weeks of, I don't know if this is him to stay. I struggle to say that because I've seen him go hot and cold a lot before. But man, he's hot right now, so if you just want a stream guy, grab him, grab Dort. Josh Hart, also from last week, 28.1 average in the last 7, so that's 2 weeks. He's been around 28 or 29 average, so he's still on his hot streak as well for New Orleans. Alex Caruso, another one from last week, 27.9 average in the last 7, 36% owned. So these bottom 3, I mean, these are all guards that are super streamable, and they've had 2 good weeks in a row. And then Lamarcus Aldridge, I had him on last week, but now he's even more of a... Last week I said just run him while he's hot. Now it's 32.2 average in the last 7. This is a this is a future Hall of Fame player, I believe. And the Nets are red hot, so that makes everybody look good. And they're coasting. I think he could easily just keep it up. Not 32.2, but plus 25 for sure. And yeah, those are all my scoops. Zach, do you have any more?
No, that's good for me.
All right, and then real quick, yeah, I got you. I'll go through the watch list and like deep league moves that you could potentially do. Alec Burks, 25.5 average in the last 7. He's on the Knicks, so, and he's the bench shooting guard. But he can be a red hot shooter and a great bench player, and we know Tibbs loves his rotations, so he values his bench more than other teams necessarily. So it's someone to watch, and if you're in a deep league, like 14-team league, this is a guy to grab. Matisse Thybulle, 27.3 average in the last 7. Definitely a watch list or deep league grab. I mean, we've seen his potential before, so keep your eye on him. Marvin Bagley is starting to heat up. Nothing crazy. But yeah, someone to keep on your watch list because he's starting to play more for the Sacramento Kings who weren't really playing him to start the year. And I think they're trying to show his trade value. They're trying to get rid of him. So, and he could end up on like the Bulls. So someone to keep an eye on. It's a free grab in the future. And yeah, just be quick with the trigger on if he has a really, really good game or a couple of good games. And then also the trade deadline. Malik Monk looking good for the Lakers. And he's looking like he could be their main shooter the rest of the way. So they might just keep playing him 30 minutes a night because they need the shooting. So someone to keep an eye on. I mean, he's only like 5% owned, so it's not like, obviously not a must watch or must grab, but he's watch list guy. Pat Cunningham, 28.3 average in the last 7. And I mean, this is a guy who people have just been streaming, basically. He's been around 22 average. And the only reason he's not, I think, more believed in is because the Bucks were so banged up, had a lot of injuries, but he's still doing good even with their starters all back, besides Brook Lopez. But Brook wouldn't take away from Pat. Okay. So this is definitely a streamable guy, watch list guy. His upside is just, 25 average. It's nothing crazy, but deep league is a great move. Tyus Jones, so he's the other Memphis point guard that could benefit from Ja Morant being out. I didn't believe in him as much, but I see people are grabbing both guards. I mean, because they want to see who takes it. Melton will take it, but Tyus Jones he'll still be getting a lot more minutes now, so someone to watch. Monty Morris for Denver. He's still on my watch list. He's just a good player. I think he's a good player. For Denver, who's been hot and cold before. but they need just any healthy players at this point because they've been banged up. And yeah, he could break out. I don't know if he will, but he has a potential. Patty Mills for the Nets, doing pretty good. If you just need a point guard to stream or a deeper league, I mean, he's a great player to have because he's just dishing it out to these great shooters. So he's going to get the assists, and he's playing elite basketball right now. And then, well, I've already talked about, last week I talked about Jayshawn Tate and Kevin Love. Obviously, they're still on the watch list in Deep League. And then last Deep League watch list, this is probably the biggest add to your watch list, Jeremiah Robinson Earl for OKC. He had 2 double-double games for them. He's getting more minutes. And yeah, OKC needs a big man that's consistent. So I want to watch him to see if he's the guy who takes over as their big guy. So we'll see. I mean, they need a double-double guy. Now, I did actually stream him one game and then dropped him. But he's on my watch list, and we'll see if he could just take off from here. And then, yeah, that's it for Deep League watch list moves. Zach, do you have any concerns?
Yeah, I have a question. So is Marvin Bagley worth a pickup? Do you think that could be a nice little good kind of Deep League move?
Deep League, maybe. I mean, I have him on my watch list. He's had one good game since starting to play now. Like the last game he just had, he was pretty good. It was 26 points. But also their starting center is not playing. So it's just, if the team's going to actually play him and play him 30 minutes a night, he's a must grab. But he's not getting 30 minutes, and the starting center, Rashawn Holmes, wasn't playing. So he's a watch list for me right now. But be quick with the trigger is what I was saying.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so do you think Jared Vanderbilt is sustainable?
Yes. God, I hope I don't eat my words here, but yeah, he's just had a really, really good week and a half. And he looks like he's their starting power forward going forward. And yeah, like it's the Timberwolves team that's just looking like an actual team now that's can contend, not contend, but be a playoff seed that they haven't been in a while since Jimmy Butler left. Yeah, I really like them, dude, because they just have a weaker bench, so they're going to play all these young starters a lot of the time.
Okay.
And he's one of them. I think he's the 4th best player on a team, so he is just a bench piece, but he could average, 28 fantasy points a night.
And then do you think Willie Hernan Gomez is worth a pickup?
So this is a guy, when he gets the minutes, he gets these nice padded stats. But he's just not their starting center. I don't know if he's just going to get around 20 minutes a night now. But that's it. I mean, that's it. He's the backup center for New Orleans. And the max he'll get is 20 minutes. And so he had super efficient 2 games there where he was averaging obviously really high. He's a watch list, so yeah, I'll add him to the watch list, but it's hard to believe in him just with 20 minutes a night. He needs more minutes. If he gets up to 25 minutes a night or plus that, totally worth it to grab.
And then lastly, my internet cut out, but you were asking if I had any buy lows, and I did have a buy low that I wanted to bring up. Would you buy low on Nickeil Alexander-Walker, or is he more a guy you're kind of just fading at this point?
Sorry, bless me. No, he's a buy low still. I talked about him last week. It's just, yeah, he needs Zion at least is back on court work. But yeah, I would buy low on him. I could understand why people are giving up on Alexander Walker, but he's still a 26.3 average, even when he's struggling. And he could go up to 30, plus 30 easily. Saw him do it last year. In the times Lonzo was out, he didn't finish the year at 30, but I'm saying, like, he should be better than this. His assists need to go way up. I think that's what a lot of people were banking on, was because he's averaging 26.3 without really getting assists. He's at 2.6 average assists. He should be above 5 as a point guard like that. I mean, he's listed as shooting guard, but Yeah, I guess Devontae Graham has taken away from him more than I thought. His minutes are also lower than I thought they would be. So we'll see. He's just struggling right now, so they're probably reducing his minutes because of that. But he needs to get plus 30 minutes a night to get his assists up.
Okay.
I still buy low, but
Yeah,
he's not going to cost as much now as before.
yeah, those are just my concerns I had. So
Okay. Yeah, no, good questions. All right, so went through everything pretty fast, but good and bad schedules. 2 games this week, or 2 game teams this week. Detroit Pistons and the Lakers. So stay away from streaming any of those players. And then Tuesday, Thursday teams that you could just, this is for when you can grab a guy Monday night and have him play 2 games before you drop him Thursday night. So Detroit, Memphis, the Knicks, Phoenix Suns, Trailblazers, and Toronto Raptors. So yeah,
okay.
I'll leave it at that. We went through a lot today, but leave any questions in the comments or just message us and follow us on social media. We need the follows.
Yeah, we got Facebook, facebook.com/Garden of Sports Podcast. We have Instagram, instagram.com/Garden of Sports. And we have Twitter, twitter.com/GOSPod2021. And yeah, just go follow us on all of those, and you'll be glad you did.
Heck yeah, thanks everyone.
Thanks, everybody.